Hello, my friends. Welcome to the show. Today, I want to speak a little bit about how coaching differs when it comes to being an introvert versus an extrovert. You might not think that this is an important topic, but I have seen far too many times where introverts, as an example, have placed themselves in an extroverted setting and have found it to be really overwhelming, and from that perspective have shut down and felt very disheartened about the fact that they don't fit in. I think it's really important for us as introverts and extroverts to know what settings we really like to be coached in, and then go and seek out those settings so that we can succeed in the things that we're looking to achieve. So with that being said, let's get into it. For those of you that I have not yet met before, my name is Ariana Pinner. You can check out more about what I offer at my website, ariana.com.au. Let's look at how coaching for introverts and extroverts actually differs. Now, I've done a couple of videos about this before, some episodes before this. You're welcome to check them out. I've linked them in the show notes below. So if at any time I say anything that you'd like a little bit more info about, specifically pertaining to myths about introverts and how they can succeed as leaders in leadership roles, and then also about the differences between extroverts and introverts when it comes to goal setting and the environments in which they thrive in when they're looking to achieve their goals. So this is a little bit of a series that I've been doing over the last few weeks, which really helps you to understand how important it is to discern about the environment that you're in, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. So as we know, there is a big difference, because you've watched the videos, right? There's a big difference between the approach and the techniques that introverts and extroverts prefer. And when we tailor our approach to each personality type's preferences and strengths, we find that the achievement of goals is so much more seamless, so much more graceful, because we're leaning into the things that feel natural and feel good to us. By understanding these differences, we create a supportive environment, both for ourselves as the one who's being coached, but then as a coach, if you're listening to this, you can create the supportive environment for the people that you're coaching, supported to their individual, unique needs. Now, introverts often thrive in settings that allow for deep reflection, for quiet contemplation, and personalized attention. And then in contrast, extroverts might excel in dynamic, interactive, and group-oriented coaching sessions. By recognizing these distinct preferences, us as coaches and you as someone who's being coached can design strategies that play to our clients or your own strengths. So for the remainder of this video, I'm going to speak to you as if you're an introvert listening to this, watching this video, so that you can discern who is the right coach for me, and also what settings are the right settings for me to thrive. And remember, as I mentioned in the previous video that I did when it comes to goal setting, that you don't have to be either an introvert or an extrovert 100% either way. You can be something that we call an ambivert, which is a little bit of extroversion and introversion. And so as I'm speaking, just feel into what feels the best for you. What's the best strategy for you, so that you can make a note of that and go and seek out those environments and those settings so that you can thrive in your life, whether it's looking for personal coaching or professional coaching. So what we're looking to do is to ensure a more productive and fulfilling coaching experience for you as an introvert, especially if you're an ambitious introvert, because the ambitious introverts that I work with benefit significantly from working with me because I understand their introversion. Their ambition is the driving force behind why they seek coaching, but because we live in an extroverted world, a lot of the times we can see that ambition as needing to hustle and to work faster and harder, which can be really beneficial for those who are more extroverted. But introverts get more energy, they fuel up, shall we say, when they're spending more time in introspection, when they're quiet, when they've created buffer periods before and after any extroverted tasks or activities, so that they're able to recharge. And so working with a coach who understands introversion can really help with reminding you as an introvert how to manage your time, how to manage your energy. Often, Traditional coaching methods emphasize extroverted activities like group discussions and public speaking, which can also be quite draining for introverts. So, a coach who specializes in working with introverts like myself, we know how to create a comfortable space where you can open up, where you can reflect deeply, and you can set meaningful goals without feeling overwhelmed. This approach helps you harness your quiet power, and it helps you to leverage this power to achieve your aspirations. When you engage in coaching tailored to your introverted nature, you can expect to achieve remarkable transformations in both your personal and professional life. And with a customized coaching plan, you'll find that your goals are more aligned with your core values and your passions. And not only that, but you'll also develop strategies to maintain your energy levels and avoid burnout, ensuring sustainable progress. By embracing your introverted strengths, you build confidence, you improve your focus, you achieve success on your own terms. This is a huge one. We are taught by the world that in order to achieve success, it needs to look a certain way. You have to do it in a certain way in order to get to where you want to go. But the reality is that you as an introvert, you have incredible power. You have strengths that extroverts don't have, and extroverts have strengths that introverts don't have. And so instead of trying to be an extrovert, instead of trying to achieve what you want to achieve in the way extroverts achieve them, it's really important that you learn what it feels like for you to achieve success, and not only to get to the point where you feel successful, but to enjoy the journey along the way. So with that being said, let's take a closer look at what coaching for introverts might look like. Firstly, and importantly, there's the environment and setting. We're looking to create comfortable, quiet spaces. We're looking to create a calm and quiet setting for coaching sessions to make introverts feel at ease. So, minimal distractions. I always remind my clients to ensure a distraction-free environment to facilitate deep thinking and reflection. I always ask them to close internet browser tabs, to put their phones on do not disturb, to sit quietly in a room or in a space where they won't be disturbed for the duration of our session. And so this really does facilitate deep thinking and reflection. Then there's the communication style, which I have a very active listening style. I focus on active listening and allowing ample time for my clients to articulate their thoughts and their feelings. See, introverts are very deep thinkers, and they tend to feel and discern what's going on inside of them before they speak up. So this might take a little bit longer to come out, and that's totally fine. As a coach for introverts, I am so comfortable with the silence. I'm so comfortable with allowing my clients the space and the freedom to feel into, to think into the things that they want to say, and then allow them the time to come up with beautiful answers, the answers that they feel come from their heart space. So I also know how to ask really good questions. And mostly with introverts, there are reflective questions. They're normally open-ended questions. And my intention with this is to encourage deep thinking and self-exploration. The other thing that I always take care of and take note of is my pacing and my structure. I allow for slow, deliberate paces, right? So there's a slower, more deliberate pace to give introverts time to process information and respond thoughtfully. And this doesn't always mean that they're able to respond within the same session. Sometimes I ask them to take information and to go and what I call try it on for 48 hours. So if they're thinking about a new concept, if they're looking to create a new habit or become a new identity, really, I ask them to go and try this on for 48 hours. So maybe you want to flip from someone who is work-oriented to someone who cares about their health. Maybe this is something that we're working with. We're looking at really developing some strong skills to help you feel healthy and to feel great in your body. This requires not only habit shifting, but this requires identity shifting. And so what I would ask my introverted clients is to go and try it on for 48 hours. What would it feel like to be someone who prioritizes their health? Just try it on, see how it feels, notice what you do differently, and then come back to our next session and tell me about it. So this gives you as a client time to process this information so that you can respond in a way that feels good in your body. Now, you're welcome to try that, and please let me know how that goes for you. You can either pop a note in the comment section or feel free to message me directly. It is something that I use in my own life all the time. If I'm struggling with something, or I'm trying to make a decision, or I am trying to make a shift in my life, I'll always just try on the new identity for 24 to 48 hours and see, how do I feel? What did I do differently during that time? And then that gives me an embodied experience of what this new identity would entail. Okay, so then we have structured sessions. I always do provide clear structure and an agenda for each session to help my clients feel organized and secure. I might not necessarily give them the full agenda for the full 8-week program that we do together. If they do want that, I'm happy to provide it for them. But a lot of the times I might speak to them in one session and tell them what we're going to do in the following session. And that just gives them a feeling of preparedness. They feel like they know what they're walking into for the following session. And if required, they can prepare themselves mentally to attend the next session. We then set into this goal setting and planning. And of course, I've done a video, like I mentioned, about goal setting and planning. If you have watched that video and you haven't yet downloaded one of these 2 freebies, then please do it. It's either the Goal Setter workbook, I call it the Goal Getter workbook, or the Quiet Power Planner. So we've got goal setting and planning. You can set your goals in a way that feels natural for you, and then you can plan how you can take action on those goals with either of those 2 freebies. Again, I'll put the links to download those in the show notes below. So we're looking at detailed action plans. The reason why introverts really enjoy detailed action plans is because they create detailed step-by-step actions. And so they're able to break down larger goals into manageable tasks. And this generally helps them achieve the task in a way that feels less overwhelming. So instead of just having a bird's eye view of some sort of strategic goal that they're trying to implement, what introverts generally love to do is to take that goal and then break it up into bite-sized chunks and then plan it out over a series of weeks, or depending on how long that goal is going to take to achieve, and then looking at each one of those particular tasks in a week or a day. And that really does help them to find this intrinsic motivation to go ahead and achieve those goals and tick those tasks off their list. So we're looking at focusing on aligning goals with their internal values and passions for sustained motivation. And then, of course, there's feedback and support that I provide, right? So there's always constructive feedback. I offer thoughtful, constructive feedback in a gentle manner to encourage growth without overwhelming my clients. And you, as someone who is an introvert, you want to find someone who provides that level of support. I myself have worked with coaches before that at first seemed like a good fit, but I found their coaching style quite abrasive. Whilst I was in the coaching container, it felt fine. Afterwards, I felt really burnt out because I felt like I was needing to do all the things and hustle and work harder and work longer hours. And whilst it was fine while I was in the container, it actually burnt me out, and I needed to take a few months off afterwards because I felt completely spent. So it's really important for you to find someone who mirrors your style, who provides encouragement and validation as you're going through the process of your coaching experience, so that you feel like you're building your confidence. And then, of course, you want to, as a client, as someone who's looking to be coached, you want time for self-reflection and introspection. So whether that's journaling and reflection, see whether your coach provides prompts or reflective practices to help you process your thoughts and your emotions. One of the things that I love doing with my clients is providing them with mindfulness techniques. So I incorporate mindfulness practices like meditation to reduce stress and enhance focus. And it's one of the core foundations of the work that I do with my clients, because I actually feel like everything stems from mindfulness. I feel like the moment we can become more mindful in our lives is the moment that we can make better decisions. If we're frantically running around the place trying to tick everything off our list and get to everything that we think we need to do, we're generally working on autopilot, and we're not creating enough space and time to figure out whether or not that one thing that we're about to do is actually needed and necessary. Another thing that I really love to do with my clients is give them independency. So I'm not going to check in on them. I'm not going to give them accountability, unless, of course, they want that and they've specifically asked me for it. But a lot of the work that I do with them is autonomous. I give them tasks to do that can be completed independently, which leverages their preference for solitary work. They've also got self-paced learning. So I allow for this sort of exploration because I respect their need for introspection. Let's talk a little bit about how coaching for extroverts is completely different. Are you ready? When we look at the environment and a setting of coaching with an extrovert, and just because I specialize in coaching introverts doesn't mean that I haven't in the past created environments where it's more extroverted. I myself have been part of extroverted environments before, and you're going to hear a lot of it now. And you'll probably realize that a lot of coaching just naturally falls into this category. And so looking for environments and coaching services and containers with introverted coaches, you'll see how it differs and why it's so important. So firstly, coaching with extroverts requires energy. So you're creating an engaging and dynamic setting that stimulates extroverts and keeps their energy levels high. You're always looking to create interactive elements. So you're incorporating these elements and activities to keep the sessions lively and engaging. The communication style is dynamic. The conversations facilitate lively back and forth conversations that allow extroverts to verbalize their thoughts and ideas. So different from working with introverts. So introverts like the space and the time and the reflection, and extroverts on the opposite end of that scale really love to think as they go. They like lively back and forth conversations. They love when a coach asks them a question and they provide immediate feedback and reactions to that question. And then the coach immediately responds to that, which keeps them motivated and engaged. So their pacing and the structure of containers with extroverts is actually quite fast paced, especially compared to introverts. You always, as a coach who's training or coaching extroverts, you want to maintain a brisk pace to match their energy levels and to prevent boredom. You want to have flexible agendas, so you allow for flexibility and spontaneity within the session and the structure of the coaching container to keep things exciting. And when it comes to goal setting and planning, you do want to focus on big picture. So you really help extroverts zoom out and focus on the overall vision and end goals, using broad strokes rather than intricate details. From a social point of view, extroverts love social motivation. So you can leverage the need for social validation by incorporating collaborative and public recognition elements. And that would fold nicely into feedback and support, because if you are publicly recognizing clients, they have a tendency to get fueled up by that and push even harder, which is great for an extrovert because that's exactly how they get fueled up. So there's a lot of feedback and support, very frequent feedback actually with extroverts. And it's also not just frequent, but it's immediate. Extroverts get fueled up by being busy, having their finger on the pulse, really. They love immediate feedback. And that in itself, like I mentioned, keeps them motivated and on track. And so this public acknowledgement and celebration of their achievements to boost their confidence and drive is something that's so important for an extrovert. And this is where finding a coach that really loves doing that for you is super important. Now, I will say, a lot of this public engagement and feedback happens on social media. And I have seen a lot of introverts, especially introverted coaches and the people that I help when it comes to providing coaching experiences for their clients. A lot of the women that I speak with and work with, they're introverted. They're introverted coaches and introverted therapists and counselors. And so they have, for the longest time, watched people on social media provide this extroverted way of supporting their clients by shouting them out and celebrating them. And for them as introverted coaches, they haven't really felt comfortable with that. And so they've put themselves in a position where they feel like they have to constantly do this external validation for their clients. And whilst an extrovert may do this quite naturally and might enjoy doing that, it's really difficult for an introvert to do that. And this is why it's so important to pair yourself up with a coach who really does understand your style, because we'll be surprised at how much external validation an extrovert may need depending on where they sit on the scale. And if you're an extroverted coach, this comes so naturally for you and you're able to give your clients exactly what they want in the way that they want it. Whereas as an introverted coach, if you were training or working or coaching with an extroverted client, you can see that there's a little bit of a mismatch. There's a misalignment. So you really want to work with someone who aligns with the way that you see the world. Me, myself, I am an introvert. I don't mind the fact that, in fact, I quite prefer it, that I keep my coaching experience private. I love the fact that my coach doesn't talk all about me on social media and tells the world how great I'm doing or what struggles I've been having. And, that's private. It's for me. I'm going through an experience where I want to feel what I'm going through and not feel like I have the world watching me. And so that's because I'm very introverted and my coach understands that. Whereas if I had someone who I was coaching with, which I have in the past, and they validated me online, sometimes I would feel quite, I wouldn't say betrayed. I feel like that's a little bit dense, that emotion, but somewhere along that line, because I'm explaining something to that person in confidence. I'm speaking to them in a way that in a coaching environment and setting, you're really becoming vulnerable with your coach. And that sense of trust must be felt. I need to feel like I can trust my coach so that she's got my back and she's not going to go and tell everybody my stories. And so this is why this alignment piece is so, so, so important, right? It's not one way is good and one way is bad. I keep on saying this and I'll say this until the cows come home. It's a preference thing. And it's important that you align yourself with your preferences. You've got to know what you prefer and then go out and find the things that you prefer. So there's a lot of collaboration and interaction when it comes to extroverts. They love their group activities. They love group coaching sessions, peer interactions, and they love this idea of social engagement. As a coach, you want to provide opportunities for networking and collaboration with others to enhance their learning and growth. You want to provide active learning strategies because extroverts really love interactive exercises. So they love role playing and discussions, and this really does keep them actively engaged. They love experiential learning. This is when you incorporate experiential learning activities that allow them to learn by doing and interacting with others. So when you choose as a client looking to coach with someone, when you choose an introverted coach to help you, you do a couple of things. You choose someone who has a shared understanding, someone who inherently understands the nuances of introversion, which includes the need for quiet reflection, the preference for deep, meaningful conversations, and the aversion to overstimulation. This shared understanding creates a strong foundation of empathy and connection. And then, of course, because introverts often communicate in thoughtful, measured ways, which can be more comfortable and effective for introverted clients, an introverted coach is likely to give ample space for the client to think and articulate their thoughts without feeling rushed. So there are tailored approaches that I do with my clients because they're introverted. And if you are a coach and you are working with an introverted client, you might want to tailor your approach just like this. You can tailor strategies and techniques that resonate with your client's strengths, such as reflective exercises, detailed planning, and independent work. And this alignment then will increase the likelihood of their successful outcomes. You might want to create a safe space. You can create a calm, non-judgmental environment where introverted clients feel safe to express their thoughts and feelings. Of course, this can foster deeper trust and openness, which is essential for effective coaching. You want to align your values. So introverts typically value depth over breadth, preferring quality interactions and meaningful goals. And an introverted coach is likely to share and reinforce those values. And this is not only wonderful as a client to experience, but it does ensure that the coaching process aligns with the client's intrinsic motivations. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, there's the pacing and the structure. So as a coach who's training, coaching with an introverted client, you want to respect the need for slower, more deliberate pace. You want to allow time for reflection and thoughtful action. And this really does help your clients feel less pressured and more in control of their progress. From an energy perspective, you want to remember that introverts are more sensitive. If they've got a deep connection with their energy levels and they need downtime. So as a coach, you will understand that your clients will develop strategies to manage their energy effectively. And this is crucial because it will prevent burnout. It will promote sustainable growth. And then finally, you want to have an authentic connection. So this really does enhance the relationship because the coach's understanding of the introvert's world can lead to more relevant and personalized advice and support. Coaches who are more introverted in nature have a tendency to develop active listening skills, and they have deep empathy, which are critical skills in coaching. And so this ensures that the client feels heard and understood, and it fosters a supportive and productive coaching experience. So when it comes to role playing versus role modeling, you can expect that an extroverted coach will do more role playing, helping the client to figure out what they need to do and what they need to say by role playing with them. Whereas a introverted setting is more about role modeling. So the coach actually serves as the role model, and they help to demonstrate how introverts can actually leverage their strengths to achieve success. So if you're a coach and you've been trying to be more extroverted, if you're more introverted, you're actually doing your clients a disservice, because as an introverted person, say you've got a client who's working with you, they're watching you to see how they can create what you've created, whether it's peaceful mind, whether it's a business that they're looking to create that's just like yours, or whatever it is that they're seeing you for and coaching with you for. They're watching you and they're receiving information by osmosis, by you just simply holding strong towards your own introverted nature. And this becomes a really inspiring and empowering thing for your clients, especially those who struggle with societal expectations, these societal expectations that favor extroverted behaviors. By tailoring the coaching approach to the unique characteristics of introverts and extroverts, coaches can effectively support each type in achieving their goals and maximizing their potential. If you're an introvert looking to make significant strides towards your goals, consider working with a coach who understands and respects your unique qualities. Together, you can create a path to success that feels authentic and fulfilling. Of course, if you're looking to coach with an introverted coach and you've loved everything that I've said here, please be sure to check out the link below. That's a link to my website. You can learn more about my coaching services and how we can work together to achieve your dreams. Thank you so much for being here. As always, it is such a pleasure to be with you, and I look forward to being with you in the next episode. Bye for now.